Hello everyone out there. How is everyone doing? Thank you so much, Cryp2KL for having me here today, delivering this keynote. Indeed, what a wondrous occasion. And kudos to you, Team MetaGlobe, for having a female keynote speaker to kick off your Cryp2KL 2.0. Indeed, such a progressive move for you. Thank you for having me here to speak about the rise of emerging tech, present and future. So before we go further, let me just allow me to speak a little bit about myself. What am I about? So as shared by Arthur earlier, 20 over years banker, been in the bank for a very long time, too long I would say, and saw the light at emerging tech tunnel because I was allowed to look at new technology for the banks. And as a result of that, I jumped out and went straight into the blockchain revolution, went directly into the wild, wild west. And what a roller coaster it has been since. I've also gone into payment tech, Razor FinTech, and iPay88 being some of them. Now I have gone on to start up and become a co-founder of a game development company called Endgame, 100% Malaysian. And this year is the pet project year for all women empowerment. So with that, I started Wahine Capital with a few other lovely girlfriends, and Women in Blockchain Asia, something that has been very close to my heart since I joined the blockchain revolution. Now, I also enjoy doing a lot of CSR and social enterprise work. So I do sit on social enterprise boards to help them figure out certain things on their journey to success, some of which I have also shared the logos here. Now, going forward a little bit, what do I like to do in my spare time? I am not as straight-laced as we think. On my off days, I like to climb a peak or two, the latest being Everest Base Camp. Of course, this was pre-pandemic. Now, unlike all other climbers, I did this one in heels. So you see the picture of me before and after, and still in heels. But the heels didn't survive the climb down. Now, in this journey that I've had, what are my lessons thus far? And I like to share this with you before I go into the proper topic. Life will always have obstacles. Our job, break through them. There will always be the one idiot on the team, pardon my French. Don't be that one. There will always be days that you don't want to get out of bed. Get up anyway. The bed is too soft. Keep your sense of wonderment. Keep learning. Keep your kindness and humanity. And above all, no matter how much you think you know, stay humble. Now, as we go into rising trends, I'd like to share a little bit about what we've been through thus far in terms of tech trends. As we say, there is nothing new under the sun. All that we are going through has already been gone through. It's just how far back do you want to dig? Now, if you consider toilet flushing a form of tech, this happened a long time ago. And when it happened in the late 1800s, it was considered revolutionary. But how long did it take for this tech to be fully adopted to 100%? Let me just say, it took 129 years. Now, if you look on the slides, when did this tech do a deep spike up in adoption? Guess, have a look. 1920. When was that? That was the decade of the Spanish flu, where everybody was going crazy, not knowing what was killing everybody else. So then it came down to hygiene. Now, even though the technology of flushing a toilet was already in existence 60 years back, it was only during this crisis that the adoption skyrocketed. Now, of course, I also have a few other examples there. Landline, as in the phone landline, took us 115 years to adopt. Computer 24 years for 90% adoption. Internet, 25 years for 88% adoption. And social media took 14 years. Now, of course, we're going to talk a little bit more about what's coming up next. But this is just a trajectory in terms of how quick TAP adoptions are coming up. And you would have an idea in terms of catching up and how some people, like our parents, may feel that this is really tiring. We will also touch a little bit about this. Now, what is the real frontier? It's actually adoption. Don't look at the technology. The technology is an enabler, just like flushing a toilet. The technology can be there since a long time ago, but a crisis and catalytic event took place to enable the adoption to go up. Now, who is the reason for the next frontier? People like you and me. We are the reason, the users, the human being. We are the ultimate reason for all tech innovation, rise and fall, adoption or otherwise. So what are we looking at in terms of what is next? Now, I just took this off the internet list in terms of what is 2022's top trends in terms of tech. Of course, AI and machine learning has been there for a while now. The big data that will drive this revolution. As you know, there is already a cyborg robot that is considered a citizen out of UAE. And this is one of the base technology that drives that. Robotic process automation, where automation of processes is no longer even going to impinge on human resources. We will even use robots. Edge computing, quantum computing. Now, VR and AR is something that has suddenly gone into a bigger push. Why? Because of Meta. Meta says that with the Oculus, you can enter an entirely different world where you can leave the one that you have behind. And this presents a whole new quantum and perspective for those who in this world do not fit in, whether you are lame, as in mobility issues, or you are unable to see in terms of sight, but you will be able to experience in the metaverse through VR and AR technologies. My favorite, of course, is blockchain. Now, that technology has been sitting on this for a very long time. And it is going to revolutionize the things that we do together. Why? Let me just say this a little bit. Blockchain eliminates the need for a third-party economy. Blockchain makes efficient peer-to-peer economy, removing wastages, inefficiency, time robbers, and even unnecessary fees and resource being utilized in between. So blockchain actually is not going to be a trend. In my opinion, blockchain is going to be a foundational change for economic pillars in the years to come. It has already shown that since its first burst onto the scene in 2009, where Bitcoin has totally revolutionized how people look at currency. Yes, of course, we say Bitcoin is a form of cryptocurrency, but given its roller coaster and how it has continuously disproved all the naysayers saying Bitcoin is going to crash and burn, is a testament to what the blockchain technology can do. And my particular love for this technology is, it is a ground-up technology. Yes, while leaders who support it will enable the adoption of this tech, a faster ride and a quicker process into mainstream. But even without that patronage, people from the ground can effect change with this technology. And that is the power of blockchain. Of course, blockchain, when you couple it with things like IoT, AI, that is going to be a completely revolutionary future. IoT, Internet of Things, where your fan listens to you, you tell it to turn on. There are equipment behind it to now make it turn on. 5G, faster communication, watching TV, downloading your favorite movie in a split second, not having to wait for any form of transaction, or when I had to send my PowerPoint over to the organizers where it has to be done via email, it can now be done at the blink of a thought, where technology becomes faster and faster and faster. There are always two sides to this coin. It's a double-edged sword. Faster means you cannot retract. I remember the days of old where my father used to tell me, oh, we wrongly sent out a CC copy of something. Tells the secretary, run down the store, run down the hallway, don't let the envelope get out the door. Today, we send an email. There is no running down a hallway to make sure that the wrong email is sent out. So while technology propels us into time efficiency, there is now a need to be even more careful in our communication before we send it out. Now, with all this tech trend, what can be more important than security? Cyber security. Not just the hacks, but also the education of the people behind it. It is very necessary. It is very, very important. Now, I would like us to just step back and think of a future. And this future may not be that far, where with the capability of 3D printing and new types of material, you can reprint your entire body. And your consciousness is just an upload and download of a cloud, enabling you life eternal, meaning your consciousness will survive beyond what is today's expected lifespan. Think about a future where we are able to digitize, tokenize, store your consciousness into a blockchain-like environment where there can be no tampering with your thoughts or your memories. It is retained so that it is then downloaded again into your new body that you want to recreate year after year or decade after decade in your 30s, 20s glorious physical self. Whichever self that you are most happy with, that would be the physical body that will carry your consciousness that is constantly uploaded and updated into a blockchain cloud. Now, what would that future mean? How will you live your life today if that future is now? Scary thoughts. And this is where I want to bring us to my last slide. What really, really matters? For all the tech trend rise and adoption, what really matters is values. Think values, not just profit, but what are you leaving behind? What are you creating today? Change is always difficult. Think about what is motivating that change. Why is there a need for that change? Of course, we change when there is crisis, like the recent pandemic. But before such a crisis hits, how are we preparing? How are we preparing through the upskilling of our own skill sets? How are we preparing in terms of our own paradigm change in mental capacity and thinking, thoughts and principles? Cultural shifts need to happen before technological shifts. To me, in today's observation, technology is shaping our culture. I think that there is a need to really firmly root ourselves in certain values that is found within our culture that we know is good and has been standing the test of time, since the beginning of humanity. So there is a need to also sieve through these things. While tech rises, some things remain the same. Keep the big picture the big picture. What is that big picture? We are talking about the betterment of humanity as a whole, not just the increase of technology. And this is where we must always remember, what are we doing for tomorrow, starting from today? And with that, I thank you for listening to us. Thank you for joining us at Cryp2KL KL. It is wonderful to have you as an audience. Thank you.